2, 1, over to you, Rick.
Hello and welcome to Luxe Life Discovered. I'm Rick Steiner, the host, and I'm with Steiner Event Group, and this is my co-host Shannon Richmond, who is with the Panama City Beach Chamber of Commerce. And our guest today is Bethania Baray Harrison from KJNB, the local Fox CBS affiliate in Jonesboro, Arkansas. So welcome, Bethania.
Thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Well, and we had let everybody know we had a little issue here before we started. So we kind of broke the ice. So everybody should be past the nerves by now. So we're ready to roll. But Shannon was very impressed with the video that you did, the This Is Home segment for my bridal show. And that's when I first met Bethania. And she is just a ball of energy.
That was so good. I said, did you pay her to make that for you? And he said, no, she just came and did that. And I was like, oh my word, that was fantastic. You did a great job showcasing Rick's show.
Yeah. And then they came and, did the video too. Because the first segment I was talking about, she has a little segment called This Is Home. Okay. And she interviewed me about the bridal show. And then she and one of her coworkers came to the bridal show, who's actually engaged to get married. And then put that piece together that you're talking about. It was fabulous.
It was so good. He needs to use that everywhere for all your shows.
Right. We just need to bring Bethania with me everywhere.
Yeah. There you go.
I love that. Yeah, because I wanted to show up to the bridal show, but I mean, obviously I'm not planning a wedding. So it was perfect that one of our news anchors, she's engaged. So I was like, Sarah, you have to come and I'm just going to video you and do a story about you at the bridal show. So it was perfect.
Oh, well, it really was.
Yeah, it was. And then the vendors, oh my gosh, I've had such great feedback from them because they loved you. I mean, there was not anybody that you left out. It was every vendor that was there, and that was perfect. Yeah.
I'm glad you said that because I was hoping I didn't leave anyone out.
No. So tell me about the This Is Home segment, how that originated, because that's really a clever, and she also had me sing on it, which,
what?
Yes.
That got cut, I hope.
No, it was at the end of that.
It was the best part, honestly.
Right.
So This Is Home. So there's a little, it's like a tag, like a theme song, I guess, for it. We have it, we play it, it plays during our commercials. And so we're kind of trying to make it a thing. And so then I have every guest of mine at the end of the segment do the little, this is home, this is home. And it's quick, but it's
in your mind, and you hum it all the time.
And she didn't tell me that until we finished the little interview, and she's like, oh yeah, every guest. I'm like, really?
You have to do it.
So we did it.
Yeah. And I've never had anyone like actually say no. They will always say, well, you're not going to get me to sing, but by the end I'll sing.
Well, it's because of your personality, and you just make it comfortable when somebody's talking.
Fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like you couldn't have paid somebody to do a job like you did. It was all personable. You visited people. You guys had fun, laughed. It was just very good. Very good job.
Thank you for saying that. That's actually like my biggest goal with this segment is to make others feel like it's their home. So.
Right. Aww. So what all do you feature on that segment? It's businesses. It's what else?
Yes. Yeah. I highlight new businesses, events happening within the community, and people making all of Northeast Arkansas excellent. So it's really the best, really.
Right.
Wow, right. We need to take note for that over here.
Definitely.
That would be fantastic.
Well, and everybody loves to have the attention and have the focus, and may not like being on TV, some of them, but hey, it's...
How often do you do those?
So I record 3 a week. So yeah.
Oh, yes. How much fun. You get to see everybody and meet everybody. How do you choose which new business you're going to visit?
Honestly, we hear about them all the time. There's always nonprofits doing wonderful events. So there's always something happening. And so scheduling them is easy and it's fun. So yeah, three a week, sometimes more, sometimes less, depending on what's going on.
Right.
Great.
Yeah. We actually were connected through a mutual friend, Sandy Morales, who owns Sandy's Catering, Mexican bakery and catering in Jonesboro. And Sandy is just a go-getter. She's probably one of the top caterers in Northeast Arkansas right now, and a super
She was
person.
was that the one with all the
Yes,
food?
yes. Sandy
oh,
goes
yeah.
above and beyond, and her food is as delicious as it looks. So we'll shout out to Sandy there. But that's how we were connected.
Oh,
Yeah.
I get it.
So,
Okay. That's awesome.
yeah.
Now you have to do it all the time.
True. And I need to bring Sandy with me everywhere I go.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, you've been doing this since the pandemic you started. So you were telling, in fact, yesterday, I did not know until your text that you're not a news anchor background. And I did not realize that. So,
Not at all. Yeah, I don't really come from television whatsoever. It's actually only been 6 months since I started.
seriously, you would have
Yeah.
never known that. Yeah.
Wow.
So 6 months ago, actually, I started this position, and it's been wonderful. Yeah, I have my segment. I also do Spanish news. So it's very little. We do a 2-minute Spanish news segment per week. And so that's actually how I started with the TV station. But yeah, I have a segment, and then I also sell digital marketing here.
Okay.
Wow, how fun.
So then the other part that you brought up in your text yesterday, after you had me sing on your show, you have an opera background. And if I'd known that, I would have kept my mouth shut for sure. So tell me about that part then, because that's very interesting.
That's hilarious. Yeah, so I come from the opera world. That's what I studied. I got in my undergrad is in music education, and then I went in to get my master's in opera performance, and then I did doctoral work in opera performance and directing.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, so that was I mean, I'm the walking example, which many of us are, but of how life can take you in a direction that you never thought you would be, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I studied, and opera. I wanted to be an opera director, and I sang opera for quite some time. And then I ended up in Jonesboro because as I was doing my doctoral work in Memphis, the Arkansas State University contacted me to see if I wanted to teach opera there, to be a voice teacher and to be the director of opera. And so I quickly took that position.
Wow.
And commuted back and forth for 5 years. So I was in that position for 5 years. And then I was commuting from Memphis. Then my husband got a promotion at his job and was moved to the corporate office, which just so happened to be in Jonesboro. And so then commuting. And then we were like, this is so dumb. But we loved living in downtown Memphis, but was commuting every day, and we're just like, we should just move to Jonesboro. We both work there. So that happened. But then funny enough, I left Arkansas State to go to Opera Memphis. So then I worked at Opera Memphis for some time, and I commuted back to Memphis.
Oh, wow.
And then the pandemic happened, and I had a baby. I had a baby during quarantine, and everything just kind of, everything's just shifted. And while I was at Opera Memphis, I was still working from home, but I had a baby. And, for me, having a child kind of shifted my priorities a little bit. And I was like, I don't know how much I can do all of this commuting and opera. Opera takes a lot of time because there's a lot of performances. And during the week, during tech week, especially like the week of the performance, it's like nonstop and you don't really see family. And so, as everything, I was kind of thinking I wanted to spend more time with my son as he was little. I was just looking for something local, and this just came up, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. So,
well, I think that's great because, like you said, and I put in my text, I love people that have stories where life events kind of take them in directions they never thought they would. Like this podcast, for example. I told Shannon that there needed to be a podcast to highlight all of the talent in this area because there's so many talented people all along the Gulf Coast. And then we've expanded, now that we're part of 38 TV, to a lot of my contacts out west and then Arkansas. And so it's been fun to have people on, but I would have never thought about doing this on my own. It's like I made the mistake of telling her, and then this is what happened. So, But it's been fun, and I love that. And so your story, when you sent me that or sent that text yesterday, I was like, I had no clue because you're such a natural at what you do, and with your segment, you just relate to people, and that personality and smile, it just draws you in. So I can see where people feel totally comfortable, around you.
Yeah. Well, I think that the beauty is that what this position has made me realize is that I was following my passion with opera, but it wasn't actually opera, the art form of opera, that was the passion. It was just that I loved the connection to people that I got and serving other people through my art, through the art form that I chose. And that just so happened to be the art form that I fell in love with. But I think that the actual, underlying passion was just connecting with people and serving people. And so the fact that I still get to do that with this segment, it's just, it fulfills me just as much.
Sure.
Aw.
So then back to the opera part. So that's one of the hardest areas of music I would imagine that there is. So how did you have any family members that were in opera that sang opera or anything?
Not at all. So,
Oh, really? So, okay.
I was born in Mexico, actually. And so I kind of grew up with a lot of, traditional Mexican music and never exposed to classical music whatsoever. So it wasn't until I was in school, like middle school, high school, I started being exposed to that. But I went to college and I went to my first opera. And that's when I kind of was like, yep, this is what I want to
Really?
do.
Wow.
Like gripped me from the very beginning. And I was like, I'm going to do this. So I did.
Oh, that's awesome.
I
I just
love
can't
that.
imagine.
No.
Yeah.
So good.
When I was 15, I did a tour of Mexico, and we went to a Mexican folklore opera, and I just hadn't thought about this in years, and it was absolutely one of the most beautiful events that I've been to. It was just magical, and I've forgotten all about that. But now that you said that, I remember at 15 just being totally, didn't understand a lot of it, but just being totally drawn in to that performance. So yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
now you know how she was drawn in.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
just got her, gripped her
Except
good.
she can sing, and I just like hummed. Yes.
It was a good thing that I could say, because if that would have been bad.
Well, so what do you plan to do with the "This Is Home" segment? Like, what do you see any anything you want to build it to be more, or keep it on the same format? I can't believe it's only been 6 months. That blows my mind.
know.
Yeah. So
No, so there was a young woman who had this position before, and she moved to a bigger market. And so she started the This Is Home segment, and I thought it was brilliant. And so just kind of kept that going. I love what it is now. I actually haven't thought about how I would expand it, but I think right now there's just so much to highlight, and the more I can do that, the better,
yeah. Well, there's so many, like you said, so many great businesses, people in Northeast Arkansas, and that covers a huge area because Northeast Arkansas pulls, like Jonesboro, for example, pulls from like the Boot Hill of Missouri, so much of, Eastern Arkansas, Western Arkansas, or areas west of Jonesboro, also the Memphis area. So it's a huge draw for the local
Yes,
area.
you probably don't have any trouble finding something to go and talk about or record.
Exactly. There's just even, because it's all of Northeast Arkansas, and I feel like I barely, left Jonesboro. So there's so
Right.
much stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's awesome. I need to take her recording, send it to one of our studios here, and say we need this.
Yeah. Oh,
That'd
yeah,
be
definitely.
awesome.
Yeah.
What a great addition that would be.
Sorry about that.
Mine fell out a minute ago.
Okay. Sorry about that. We'll make sure Paul edits that.
Yeah.
I'm so little, so I don't even know what happened.
Oh,
Okay. Good. Nothing happened. Yeah.
So what do you do in your spare time? What do you like to do?
Ooh, great question. So I love to salsa dance. That's a big thing that I love to do.
Does your husband love it as well?
Not as much.
That's great.
I wish he did. He loves to golf. So I don't love to golf, but yeah, I love salsa dancing. I mean, I'm really introverted, as
I can
funny.
tell.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I really am. I'm very good. So that's a beautiful thing, is that it's funny because I don't have any television experience and I don't have any television background,
See.
but having opera, performance background, it's basically like the same thing. You just have to turn it on. So like being in front of a bunch of people, just having one camera in front of me is way easier to me So also like making others feel comfortable when they're with me. That's something that I've always struggled with. And I know how, I know how to help
Right.
people. I know when that adrenaline is rushing, how to help them like reel it back and like slow down and all of that, and doing just like scene work. So that's just like really, I don't know how I got to talking about this. I don't feel like I answered your question. I'm so sorry.
No, yeah,
No,
you
you
are.
did. Yeah,
You are.
yeah.
Which was?
Was what do you like to do when you like to salsa dance?
Yes, I'm so sorry. Yes, so I do like to.
No, I love when we talk about one thing and it leads to all these others, because
Yes.
then we learn so much.
But yeah, what I was getting to was that I'm good at putting it on, but I'm a very introverted or extroverted introvert. So
Right.
on my spare time, I love to chill out and read and watch some reality TV and just chill with my son. My son is number one, so just spending time with him is the best.
Oh, how old is your son now?
He's 2.5.
Oh,
Yeah. So you speak Spanish and English?
Yeah, so he's
That's
bilingual. So obviously my first language was Spanish, and I think being bilingual, being multilingual is really important and a
right.
beautiful thing. So yeah, I only speak Spanish to him in the home. My husband doesn't speak Spanish, so he speaks English. So he gets both.
oh,
That's good.
That's
Yeah,
really good.
it is, because it's going to help them so much in life, not just school, but life overall. Because I took Spanish in high school, and honestly, I thought at that time, you're never going to need it, so why, it was just a required course. And I wish now I knew
Yeah.
it. So, yeah.
Absolutely. There's jobs out there just for that.
Sure, yeah. And I'm still floored that, first of all, no television background. It's only been 6 months, because I have watched some of the other segments, and I mean, it's like a pro going in, doing this, and never missing a beat.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, when I saw that, I thought you'd been doing it for years and years and years. It was great.
That's awesome. I love it.
So what do you see on the horizon for you? Will you ever get back into any opera, any plays or anything?
Actually, so it's funny because I thought I would never not be doing opera, and if I ever wasn't doing opera, that I would really, really miss it. I would love to perhaps direct again. So I love directing opera more than I loved performing it. But I'm so out of shape now that getting back into like vocal top shape for opera would just take me months. So I don't even know if I would like ever do that, but I would love to sometime, direct and show. And Opera Memphis has been just so kind, even though I'm not with them full time anymore. I'm still a part of the family. And so
That's neat,
you never
yeah.
know.
True. So you taught at Arkansas State for 5 years in their music department. So what all did you tell us about that too? Because that's something that we've learned today as well. So yeah.
Yeah. So I directed the opera. So when we had an opera every semester. So I would direct that, and so we would rehearse. It was an opera class, so it was called Acting for Opera, and then we would put on a performance at the end of the semester. But then I also had voice students, so throughout the week I would teach privately, so just voice lessons. And this is a class. It's called like Applied Voice. So you would take that class and you would meet with me once a week, and then once a week we would meet as a group, my entire studio, and we would perform for each other and get feedback. And then they have a voice lesson that week, and then the remaining of the days they would rehearse the music and come back.
Okay, that's interesting.
Busy.
I know. So how big is the department, the music department at Arkansas State? Obviously, that was not an area that I was in. So when I went to school there.
What did you study?
Oh gosh, just before you were born, I'm sure. I graduated in, let me see, 82. Yeah. So when were you born? You were, yeah.
86. So yes.
Okay, well that's when I got my master's. So yeah, that's so just a few years ahead of you. Yeah.
Just a few.
Just a few. I did take music appreciation. That was
Yes.
a required
That's
elective. Yeah. Yeah.
I guess back then it wasn't well, now it's A State. Did it have another name?
Well, we were the Indians then. That was before they changed to the Red Wolves. Yeah. Yeah.
But it's still
So,
Arkansas State
yeah.
University.
Yeah. So,
And a lot of people call it ASU, and I know they were like trying to rebrand. When I was teaching there, they were rebranding to A State because there's
okay. Yeah.
in Arizona.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I've never thought about that. And we used to be the Indians, and then we became the Red Wolves. So,
Red Wolves?
yeah, Red Wolves. Yeah. So that's right.
Did you see what she did?
Yeah. Well, and you know what's funny about that is that we live in Murray, Kentucky now, and we're the racers, and we do hooves up instead of, shoes up instead of hooves up.
Shoes
Yeah. The same thing, because of the racers, horseshoes, and so,
Okay.
and so it's weird because like our zip code is 42071, Jonesboro's is 72401. The area code used to be 501, Kentucky's was 502, then they changed ours to 270. Jonesboro now is 870. So it's kind of like we can't get away from it's all intertwined somehow. And so I don't do it now, but initially when we first moved there, I would do an address, and part of it would be legitimate to where it was going, and then I'd throw in the wrong zip code or the wrong, somehow I would transpose the wrong something in there. But
Imagine that.
imagine that. I know. So you're coming from Memphis to Jonesboro. It's not that far. It's like an hour away, hour and a half, but it's a world of difference. Do you feel that?
Oh yeah. Yes, I've felt it a lot. I think that because I came from Arizona to Memphis, so I think that was probably when it really hit me that like I couldn't understand the Southern accent for a really long time, and so I would always be like, "I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry, what?" So, but now the Jonesboro accent is different. But I feel like now I've been here long enough that I have no problem.
Yeah. Well, my sons were they were born in Jonesboro, but raised in Kentucky. And anytime I go to our farm in Marvel, which is like 2 hours south of Jonesboro, and come back home, they used to always tell me, and my wife will still tell me, slow down and speak slowly. Because it's just a fast, you know how it is. It's like everybody's in fast speed talking, and yeah.
Yes.
And my wife is like, slow it down.
It's different too here. It's a smaller town, a feel than Memphis, for sure. So it takes a while to like make the connections happen because a lot of people here are local, and so people they go to school here, then they go to college here, and then they all work here, and so they know each other. So it's taken me a while to get my networking in there, but I think 6 months I'm doing pretty well.
Yeah, and that is something to say because that happens the same thing in Murray, where it's like you go from 12th grade and then you go to Murray State 13th grade. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's just a continuation. Yeah. So it's kind of, and Jonesboro is the same way, but like you're saying, but Jonesboro has so much to offer, and then with you're hitting the Hispanic community quite a bit. So that's growing considerably in that area as well. So that has to be a huge market, and I'm sure it makes them feel more comfortable having someone, that they can identify with. So
yeah, and that I do have to say, like, that's one of my biggest passions is really connecting with the Spanish language audience and all the Hispanic community in the city. So I'm glad that we do the Spanish news, and I'm glad it's available. So I wish more of them watched it, but it's hard because a lot of people, they don't think it's Fox or CBS. It's just English. You get a little bit of Spanish news. So
I think it's neat. Yeah,
I think it's neat too.
Yeah. Well, and then you have the bubbly personality to go along with it. That's important. What do you think, like reaching that market? What could be done to enhance that?
Yeah, no, that's a great question because so I was previously the director of education at Opera Memphis, and I always wanted to do events that connected with the Hispanic audience. And it's I think the only way, in my opinion, is through time and trust, because I think especially with the Hispanic population, they have to trust. They need somebody to trust, and so it just takes time and trust, and so it has to be done like the hard and long way,
Yeah,
Right.
organically. That's the
Yeah.
best way. Just keep getting out there and people hear it and be excited to see you with your bubbly personality.
True.
And they're going to just they'll be attracted to that.
Yes,
And then they'll tell their friends.
Yes, absolutely.
And don't you see a lot of the Hispanic businesses really doing well now? Because there have been some for a few years, but it seems like now there's more of they're more involved and intertwined in the community and doing well. So, and Sandy's a great example. Yeah.
What's that?
And Sandy's a great example of that. Yeah.
Well, Sandy's a perfect example. I mean, she's wonderful, and she really has just kind of, she's done so much for so many years with her bakery, and now expanding into catering. So, I mean, the community loves her. So
Yeah. And that food, it's just,
I saw it on the
it's
video.
it is good. It is good.
Usually
So,
when you go to those things, you get a little sample. It looked like she had a meal.
Sandy had so much food, it was unreal. She had enough we could probably have fed double the attendance, but she came prepared and wanted to make sure. So,
That was awesome.
yeah.
And I do have to give a shout out to, even though they're not in Jonesboro, my parents have also a Mexican restaurant in New Mexico. So I just wanted to give them a shout out.
All right, well, good. What's the name of the restaurant?
El Faro.
And where in New Mexico?
So in a small town, Truth or Consequences, New Mexico.
I've heard of it. Yes.
That's cool.
Yes.
How big of a place is that? Because I've heard of it, but I've never been there or anything. But it's not a huge town, is it? Yeah.
Very, very, very small. So I couldn't tell you the population, but I graduated with like 100 people. So so it's a really small town, but they have really great hot springs there.
Okay. Well, we may have to do a remote.
Hey, I would love that.
Yeah.
I would like that.
Truth or Consequences, New Mexico.
It's Santa Fe, and Santa Fe is beautiful.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, good.
This was awesome. I really enjoyed talking with you. I
Thank
learned
you
a
so
lot.
much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, good. And thank you. And I appreciate you taking the time to be on with us today. So thank you for joining us on Luxe Life Discovered. We look forward to seeing you on our next podcast, and we will see you soon. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Hey, are we through? Bethania?
Check out Luxe Life Discovered on Facebook and Instagram and on 30a.tv. See you next time on Luxe Life Discovered.